What is up, guys? Welcome back to my channel. My name is David Hamlin, aka the Laptop Legend, and in today's video I'm going to be doing a recap of my day trades for the month of March, which I finished up $69,000, one sec, let me check, $468.77. I just want to get the number right for you guys. And March overall was a lot slower than February. February the market was just on fire, bro. I mean, it literally was like purgatory. And you know, March was really not quite that hot. We had a lot slower market, and you had to be able to adapt if you want to succeed in the new market. And I think I was able to adapt pretty well. I'm pretty proud of everything that I was able to accomplish in the month of March, and I wanted to share some of my lessons with you guys, share some of my best trades, some of the best tickers, and just overall give you guys some takeaways so that you can study this stuff and turn yourself into a better trader who's able to match these types of numbers or hopefully beat them, because that's my goal with this channel, to help make you guys be better traders, help you guys earn more money. And I mean, seriously, if any of you guys are beating my numbers, I would be extremely happy, especially if I've had anything to do with that. So if you're doing anything, you know, any type of numbers close to that, any numbers better than what I do, please drop a comment down below. Even if you're doing, you know, 100 a day and I've helped you do that, just let me know, because it means the world to me to know that I'm helping you guys to make more money. So that's ultimately the goal from this channel. And yeah, let's dive into my computer. You can see I got some bubbles going on there. Just a little bit of a new screensaver that I'm testing out for you guys. Want to keep the background interesting, but yeah, it should be pretty fun. So let's dive in and talk about these trades, baby. All right, guys, so I made this little spreadsheet, chart, I don't know what you want to call it, calendar of basically how I finished each and every day. And it was kind of ironic because at the end of February I said, you know, let's go in strong to March and start off on a good note and really get ourselves going into the month well. And then the very first day, I had my only red day of the month, which was negative $563.72. And honestly, what happened this day was basically kind of the start of the trend overall in March. And if I go here, you can see this is kind of what a lot of charts look like. And if you missed the opportunity early in the day or got kind of messed up by it, there was very little opportunity trading the same type of way that we traded back in February, because this thing ripped right out of the gate here on this day and then came back down and then grinded back up. And the next day, again, this is on March 1st, HMBL. I think what happened here was I missed this, right? So I missed this entire run up. I tried to dip by it here, and then I ended up getting caught in a big washout, and the pending sell, pending cancel that ended up filling me down here. And again, if you didn't watch my previous video, you know that pending cancels have been screwing me over a lot. But this is just another one of the ways that happened. And really what happened in March, I guess, was if you didn't nail, you know, the very few opportunities that there were right at the beginning of the day, and you weren't able to adapt, you had no opportunity to make back the loss that you made at the beginning of the day. So like if you didn't nail this and you took a loss here, there really wasn't a ton of volatility for you to be able to take advantage of later on. And you know, I really had not mastered trading in a slower market. And this was a skill that honestly I worked on a lot in the last month, and I feel like I got a lot better at it. And overall in this day, I think the only stock that I made money over 100 bucks on was Forwardly, and I'm not even sure where I did. Yeah, so I ended up buying it here because I thought they were both going to run out of the gate. This was that day. So this was the day that I did not even buy HMBL out of the gate. HMBL was running, so I was like, all right, let me buy Forwardly. They have, you know, 125 million warrants for Humble, so if it's running, if Humble's running, this should be run too, but it didn't run. So, you know, that was a valuable lesson that I learned. You know, this is just one of the takeaways from this month. Just because stocks typically move together does not mean they always have to. And if something is running, you want to focus on the best stock of the day. You know, focus on the best opportunities. Don't necessarily think you can only trade another one because you missed the best opportunity of the day, and you should focus on worse opportunities. It doesn't always work out like that, you know. So definitely try to pick the best stocks, and if there's a stock that's clearly the best stock of the day, put your attention on that because it's going to have the most money-making opportunity. And yeah, that's pretty much the main takeaway from that day. And you can see I was green the entire rest of the month, I guess, except for technically this day because, again, you know, I got my Fidelity account restricted, so I couldn't trade at all on the 31st. But based on the stocks and the movement that day, I'm confident I would have made over $5,000. But you can see, I think my average overall kept increasing significantly. And by the time you get to the end here, even though there weren't a ton of great opportunities, you know, my average, you know, I'm cranking out like $4,000 days pretty much on average. And, you know, I'm very proud of that. I'm very proud I was able to adapt so well to this market. And something that I have talked about in a good number of videos over the course of this month is really being able to take advantage of those slow moving days where it doesn't look like there's a lot of opportunities. But because of that, the range of stocks is a lot tighter, and you can take advantage of those little moves over and over by flipping stocks or by scalping. And I talked about a lot of ways that I do that, but you know, I can go into a little bit more of that in this video. But overall, if I go through and look at some of these days, you know, there really weren't a lot of great opportunities on most of these days. Let me go to Friday, see if there was any outstanding stock on that day. Yeah, I mean, there really wasn't anything that was that great. I made like 1,200 on Humble, HMBL, again on that day. So if I go to the 5th, get the intraday chart on the 5th, you know, we can see here it had a pretty epic dip buy, man, and I underestimated this one a lot. But this was the best play of the day, and you know, it actually was pretty good the rest of the day. So I mean, overall, you know, there still were some plays in March, but they were just a lot fewer and farther between, if that makes sense. So you know, there's still opportunities, but this was actually, you know, a pretty dang good chart, and I think that's why on this day, you know, my profits look a lot better than they did the rest of the week. OZSC was also a good one for me this day. And that's because this one ran all the way from 8 cents all the way up to, you know, 17 cents. So, I mean, this thing more than doubled in a day. So when you get an opportunity like this, you got to take advantage of it. And I'm still working on being better, especially on stocks like this, because the way that I trade is I pretty much, I'll buy on a dip and then I'll sell into the spike. So if the spike is a little choppy but keeps going a lot higher and holds an uptrend all day long, I leave a lot of money on the table. So I really need to be better about that, especially in you know, opportunities like this. Let me see if I figured it out. You guys said click release. There you go. There you go. So I mean, it's held an uptrend pretty nicely all day long. I mean, you can even go from down there. I mean, pretty much. I guess it went under it a little bit, but I mean, it held that pretty well. Maybe from here. I don't know how you erase these. I'm about to have a smorgasbord of lines, but I mean, it pretty much held that uptrend all day long. It pretty much held that uptrend all day long. And this is one of the things that I'm still working on, guys. Still working on my patience on these all-day runners when they have surprising strength and refuse to break down. And I actually have a couple other examples of that. And honestly, the best one would probably be this day on the 11th. And this is when I made, this was my best day of the month. And the reason for that was because this was the day where we had MDMP. And you guys probably remember that stock. But on that day, I made $5,204 on MDMP. So if we go to the chart for MDMP on the 11th, let's go to the 11th intraday chart. MDMP. This was actually the second day. Wow, I totally forgot about that. Yeah, so this was actually the second day of the run. So the first day of the run, if I zoom in a little bit, you can see it ran from 2 cents all the way up to 26 cents. And this is just one of those ones that never made a lower low. It never made a lower low. And I think at times like this, you know, where again, it keeps going higher highs and higher lows and never, ever breaks down. This is one of those times when you need to be more aggressive. You need to be more aggressive because the stock is proving that it really is able to run. And it did the same thing the next day until it finally broke down and made a lower low and failed to make a higher high. You know, this is a great sign of weakness right here. If I go, now I can't draw my line. There we go. I mean, obviously that's not ideal. I'm trying to draw from this base here. But you can see once it breaks the 75 area, I mean, it's pretty much over, and it's unable to get past that and get back up. So it displayed surprising strength, and you guys want to take advantage of these best runners, and I think be a little bit more patient when they're proving that they're able to be strong all day long, if that makes sense. And I think, you know, I was able to take advantage of a lot of these runs because, you know, I was not afraid to chase when the strength was there. And that's something that a lot of people are a little bit afraid to do. And I guess that's another lesson that I want to give you guys to take away, because when a stock is this incredibly strong, it's worth chasing. And typically speaking, a lot of newbies run into the issue where when they chase, they end up bag holding. They buy in, right at the top, and then they're holding, and they're down 50% of their position. That is not what I recommend doing when you chase. I think if you're going to chase a stock like this, it can pay off handsomely because I was buying here. I was buying here. I might have even bought right here. But I cut my losses quickly as soon as the stock proved that it was going down. So I think if you're not going to be super patient and hold these through the entire ride, which I'm not sure I'll ever be able to do. Maybe I'll be better about taking smaller positions and letting them sit, and then also trading and selling into the strength until it actually breaks down. But I think part of, how I'm able to take advantage of these without really having any red days is the fact that if I'm buying here into this green candle and it goes down, I'm cutting. So worst case scenario, I get back in and I take a little loss. But when it's still displaying the strength, it is worth chasing. And same here. I buy in here, it dips, and then it keeps running, makes a new high. I'll rebuy back in right here. So you can't be afraid to do that, but you also can't take too big size. And that was something that, I was very careful about with this stock. I was taking like literally 10,000 shares. And, typically on a stock like, let's see, OZSC, this stock had news come out right here, and I bought like 200,000 shares here and sold it here. So, it's a very different type of trade, a lot larger size, but the movement is a lot smaller. The range of the stock is a lot smaller. When you're trading a stock like MDMP that goes from 2 cents to 94 cents, if you buy 10,000 shares at 94, every single penny is $100. So you cannot afford to be losing a ton. So MDMP, this was probably the stock of the month, and we all know that this thing came back, and I think in April, right? In April, this thing continued to go crazy in April. Yeah, this thing has been going crazy. This thing's been going crazy, guys. Had many comebacks, many nice return spikes. So, man, these are the biggest opportunities for moneymakers. And when you get a slow market, you really got to capitalize on stocks like this because they will be, an outproportioned size of your gains. Now, the skill that I want you guys to develop is when the markets are slow, be better about flipping. Learn how to make money on the small movements so that your average profit per day can go from, 1,000 or 2,000, up to like 3,000 or 4,000. And obviously, this is kind of a little bit fluke of a day, but overall, man, I think my profits steadily increased throughout the month because I got better at taking advantage of slower days. And this is something that it literally just requires practice and putting the hours in. And I recommend trading with small size until you learn how to perfectly time these movements. But let me give you, some examples. So I'm trying to think of a good day when it was a little bit slower and I was mainly just flipping. So let's see. All right, yeah, 26. I think the 26 is a better example. So you can see I made $3,429 with very low risk on the 26th. And the reason that I was able to do that was because I was flipping a lot of different stocks and just taking advantage of, the lack of liquidity overall, because that means when someone wants to sell, they tank the price a lot. And if you're patient and you can get in down here, people see the dip, they buy it, and you can sell back up here and make a decent amount of money. So let me go to that specific day. Let's go to on demand for the 26th of March. On demand for the 26th. So HMBL, you can see this stock was pretty much just going down, all day long. And it had some nice dip buys here. But I think where I made the majority of my money on this day was actually in these ranges. And I think I talked about this in my video from that day, if I'm not mistaken. But you can see there's a lot of times where the stock is just bouncing back and forth, kind of in these 2-3 cent ranges. And if it's trading in a channel like that, it's pretty easy to buy down here and then sell when it moves up a little bit. And worst case scenario, you cut, when it moves down a cent below, and you're not really risking that much money. And if you do this with small size, you get executed pretty much instantly, even on these OTC stocks. And it can really make a huge difference in the amount of profits you make overall. Because imagine, you're watching a market open where everyone thinks, for the first hour of the day, that's when all the opportunities are. And then after that, it just kind of fades off. So, everyone has been saying that throughout March. Yeah, there was a nice dip buy here. There was definitely a nice dip buy. But if you just walk away after that point, you're missing out on all the money you can make by trading all of these things. All these opportunities, man. There's so many opportunities throughout the day. I mean, it keeps holding these levels. And if you cut here, you know, just buy back in a few cents lower with small size. If it keeps dropping, you can just cut and get back in. And I mean, I was making money pretty much all these little mini dips. And, you know, it finally found a bottom and popped back up a decent amount. And then, again, it was just choppy, but you can make money in choppiness. I think that was the biggest lesson that I learned in March. You can make money in choppiness if you have the patience and the discipline to take small size and just, you know, flip over and over and over. And I guess technically that would be considered scalping, which is tougher to do for sure on a brokerage that has commission, which is why I like Fidelity. It's why I like Fidelity a lot and why I'm hoping I get my account unrestricted. I mean, AITX had a pretty similar chart, man. I mean, this thing is pretty gross. If I zoom in, you know, it doesn't really look like there's a ton of range here, but you can see, I mean, some of these, if you're patient and there's a big gap, you can easily get filled, you know, 100,000 shares down here at 10. And it bounces pretty much always. And even if you buy here at 10, I'm not sure why it's not showing the, that's kind of annoying. I don't know what happened to the more specific price increments. It's just showing 9 and 10 cents. That's very annoying. I mean, we can assume this is, you know, 10-1, 10-2, 10-3, 10-4, 10-5. So, I mean, you can still make a lot of money. If you buy 100,000 shares at 10 and sell them at 10.5, that's $500. So just flipping these over and over, guys. There's a lot of room to profit there. And I guess that's my biggest takeaway. That's my biggest takeaway overall. What happened on the 24th? I'm trying to think what happened on the 24th. I think we had some good flips on that day. HMBL. Yeah, I mean, same thing on the 24th. HMBL, ILUS, I was flipping that. I think ALYI, I was doing some flipping of that. So, I mean, there's a lot of opportunities for flipping, guys. I guess that's the biggest takeaway that I want to give you guys. MMEX, I think even that one. MMEX, AITX. All these guys. All these. And, I mean, you look at this chart, and it's ugly. I mean, it's pretty ugly. Like, there's not a ton of opportunity there, I feel like. There's not a ton of opportunity there, I feel like. Did I forget to change the day? I think I might have. Oh, this was when it, oh, okay. Yeah, this was when it panicked hard at the end of the day. I remember that. Had that crazy sell-off towards the end. Yeah, that was crazy. I mean, this, you know, just a little lesson. You see the technical analysis here. I mean, it bounced pretty much right at these areas where there was support. So not too surprising. Not too surprising there. But yeah, I mean, again, guys, you know, you look at a chart like this and it's pretty ugly. I made all my money within here. You know, I made pretty much all my money within here because this range is so nice. 4.3 to 4.1. It's so easy. You buy 4.1, you sell 4.3 over and over and over and over and over and over and over. So yeah, I mean, that's the takeaway, guys. That's the takeaway. Hopefully you found this video somewhat helpful. And, you know, I'm excited to see what I can continue to do. And if I have to start from scratch because I can't continue with Fidelity anymore, you know, it's just another obstacle that I have to overcome. And maybe I start learning how to short. Maybe I start learning how to use other brokerage platforms. Or maybe I flip and I eat big commissions and just make a lot less. Or I'm a little more picky in my flips and a little more patient. I don't know. I guess we'll see what happens. But appreciate you guys watching the end. If you made it this far, let me know what you think of my mustache. I've been working on it. I kind of like it. I know my mom hates mustaches, so you don't need to comment that you don't like it, Mom. I already know you don't like it. And also, if you made it to the end, you don't need to comment that I'm wearing the same shirt as I did yesterday. I don't know why I just exposed myself like that, but you know, if you think about it, what is the same, really? You know, what is change? Are we the same as when we go to sleep? As when we went to sleep the previous day? You know, I would argue we're not. I think everything is constantly in a state of changing, and ultimately, it doesn't really matter what shirt you put on because you're a different person. So if you're a different person in the same shirt, or a different person in a different shirt, you know, it's still changing. And that's how I feel about it. So hopefully it doesn't make too much of a difference for you guys, what color I'm wearing. But I think that's pretty much it. So appreciate you guys watching the end. I'll see you in the next one. Until then, let's grow better together.
Preguntar, bebé, dime por qué te mientes. No puedes esconder todo lo que tú por mí sientes.